So this is part 3, a continuation of the steering box install on the Ford 8N. So we're going to get right into it. I got a couple of the wiring connections done and got the toolbox back in. It was all stuff that was going to be really hard to see with the camera anyway. So I am going to put the grill back in, and I want to show you how this goes back in. So at the bottom here, there's a bolt hole that gets mounted through to the spot right here. And there are actually, those bolt holes don't go through this. These are actually pins that are on the bottom of the front skirts off the front grill. And I want to see if I can show them to you. Ooh. I'll turn on the light here so you maybe can see it. So if you look down in here, right in there, I don't know if it's going to focus on it or not. There's a pin that sticks out. This side might be easier to see. Yeah. So right in there, there's a pin. The bolt actually goes through this skirt and goes into the lower core support, which is the framework of the front underneath the tractor. So that bolt holds this tight and over that direction. This pin down here goes through the hole that I showed you on that grill, and it's to allow that grill to pivot. And if we look up underneath the front edge, I don't know if you can see it or not. So right up under this front edge right here, there's a hole. And that hole, the pin at the top of here, is actually spring-loaded. And if you've never done this before, there's two little tabs on the front of your grill. And if you push down on those tabs, you can swing the grill forward. And that is basically to clean all of this crud and stuff that gets stuck into the front of the radiator out of there without taking the whole tractor apart. So I can show that to you after I get it back in place, but I'm going to stick that back in. Now I got the rest of it back together. I need to get this wheel adjusted here. These haven't been apart for a while. I can tell just from looking at them. But we got to get this loose to adjust it. So there are two clamps on here that hold tight against those threads. One in the front, one in the back. And then somewhere along this bar, there's actually a notch in here. This is a round bar. There's a notch that's made for a wrench to sit on there to be able to crank this. And one end is left-hand thread, the other end is right-hand thread. So I should be able to turn this tube and have it bring that in or out. Now I've got the other tire is aligned straight. So I'm going to try to bring this tire back as far as I can. We may have to take the other side loose and adjust it too, but we'll see how much adjustment we can get out of this side. These adjusters should be fairly even, and I'm surprised I didn't notice that before, that this adjuster was way out and that one was not. So the other thing I want to do is I'm going to put a little drop of oil on each of those threads, and hopefully that will help the threads to be able to move and slide easily as I run that up. So I'm just using a little bit of motor oil. And we'll see if this will turn. Oh, that's going to be fun. That's not going to want to turn. That's good and loose. It's not holding tension there. I might get a screwdriver and put it in there. There we go. So I'm going to try to loosen that clamp up a little bit. There we go. So that clamp's loose on these threads. Do the front one too. It's definitely loose. See if that'll turn now. Nope, it is not wanting to go. Not at all. So the odds are it's probably got rust or crud in these threads and it doesn't want to spin. So we may end up having to take this off of there, put a little heat on it. I hope not, but that clamp is completely loose now. Shouldn't be holding anything there, so. Try something else. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here, put some pressure on that and smack those ends and get that to break loose. Oh, there it goes. It's turning a little bit. Started to turn. There we go. That hasn't turned for a while. There it goes. And And there's some rust falling out of there. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but the front one's got some rust falling out too. It's going to be a little harder to see, but now I've got it to where that tie rod will turn free. Now I'm turning it the wrong way, but I want to get it to where it's going to move nice and free and not bind up on us. I'm going to keep working that back and forth. I might end up dripping a little more oil down in there, but as hard as this is turning, I think what I want to do, I think I'm going to want to go to these threads right here and try to take a wire wheel or a brush or something and try to get some of the paint off of those threads, because as far as this tire is turned, I think we're going to have to run this up at least half the distance of this threads, maybe 3/4 of it. And I don't want all that paint getting jammed up into those threads here. So I'm going to try to take as much of that off as I can. So what I'm going to use here is just a small wire wheel on an electric drill. This one's battery powered. Anytime you're doing anything like this, make sure that you guys wear a pair of safety glasses. These wires can fly out of here. You're going to be flinging crud off of there. You don't want that stuff in your eyes. So I'm going to repeat the same thing on the threads on the front side of it, and then we'll see if that will turn. Okay, so I've got the threads cleaned up. I did drip a little bit more oil on them. And now I'm hoping that we can get this to turn nice and free and run right up those threads. So we adjusted on the other side quite a bit. We got it run down almost all the way. This side, I don't have quite enough adjustment, so I'm going to take this side loose. We're going to adjust this side out just a little bit, and hopefully that will take care of everything over there. And we can get both of these wheels straight on here. This one looks like it's been adjusted more recently. I don't know. This may have been the one that got adjusted when the old steering box got put in and was not aligned properly, so maybe this one will go easier. I don't know. We'll see in a second here. Oh yeah, look at that. I don't know if you can see it from the video, but this side is turning very, very nicely. This side's turning nice and smooth. We'll be able to get this adjusted up real quick using this side as well. I'd like to show you what I ended up doing here. And this tie rod end right here, I had to run it all the way down to where there was almost no threads left to get that wheel aligned fairly straight. And the other side here, I still have a little bit to go, but I'm going to have to run this one down to where there's almost no threads left as well for this side, because this side's still pointing to the left just a little bit. So I'm going to have to run those down in order to get them straightened out. But after that, the only thing left to do is fire it up and make sure that the steering works properly. I want to check all the connections. I want to check the fuel line connection that I did under here. I also want to check that oil pressure gauge piece right there to make sure those aren't leaking. I want to check all the connections to the air fittings. Now is a good time to change out that oil on the oil bath air cleaner. And actually what happened is when I set it down in the garage here, I think one of our cats must have bumped it and knocked it over. So the oil bath air cleaner has oil in the bottom of it there. And I'm going to take that canister off of there, clean that out really well, and make sure that I've got fresh oil in that. Now, while I'm in the shop, I might as well do it and get that taken care of. So that should be it for the 8N. And hopefully we can get out and plow some snow with it.